Welcome. My name is Tracy O'Malley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Plus Group. We want to thank you for taking the time to join us today for the Plus Group webinar series. Today's webinar topic is how to become a millionaire selling disability insurance. Our presenter today is Robert Clark. He is the Regional Vice President at Peterson International Underwriters. Just so you know, all lines will be muted during this call. If you'd like to ask a question, you can go to your question pane on your control panel and type it in. We'll answer the questions at the end of the webinar, so you can type them in any time and we'll get to them at the end. Also note that we are recording this webinar. You will get a link sent to you via email by tomorrow. It will have the presentation as well as the audio that Robert will be providing. Okay, everyone, again, thank you for your time today, and I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Robert Clark.
Thanks so much, Tracy, and very happy to be on today's call. What everyone's looking at on their screen, just to give you some background, working with Peterson International Underwriters. We are a Lloyd's of London cover holder here in the U.S. And exactly what you're looking at on your screen here is a picture of a single floor of Lloyd's of London. Each of these boxes of 4 chairs and 4 computers is known as a syndicate. These are the companies that are individually backing a certificate of insurance in Lloyd's. Now, what's unique and the beauty of Lloyd's is that we hold 94 syndicates all under one house, being named Lloyd's of London. That's like having 94 different carriers, combinations of principals, assurities, standards, whatever you can imagine. That is the flexibility and versatility that we have in this market. Another unique look at a historical Lloyd's of London piece. What you're looking at here is the original underwriting slip for the Titanic and its sister ship, the Olympic. This underwriting slip dates back to 1912 and was originally insured on that year and the same year that the Titanic was considered a loss after its tragic incident. Now, what you'll see is all these names on this list next to different numbers, different percentages. These are all syndicates that committed to a certain level of risk while signing off on the Titanic. You can see the risk is located up top, describing exactly what the case is, and each syndicate signing a percentage and their name below that. This is where we derive the term underwriter. The syndicate signs their name under the risk. So a very unique piece of insurance history, all dating back through Lloyd's. And today, Lloyd's is one of the most phenomenal, versatile, and largest insurance commerce center in the world. What you're looking at here dates back to Veterans Day 2015 at the annual moment of silence on that special day. And these are just a few of the 14 floors that create the Lloyd's of London building. So first, I want to welcome you and I want to congratulate you for being on today's call. By being here, you've committed. You know that you want to do what it takes to learn and be an expert in this industry, and you also want to commit to being an exceptional producer of disability insurance. Now, one of the key concepts that I want to review with you today is often overlooked in our marketplace. The topic of high limit. You see, most people think if they have a $100,000 income earner, that person is going to spend 65 to 75% of that number. Now, this is a statistic straight from U.S. News and World Report, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, all say the same thing. What's interesting and expands from this is that there's no cap on that income, meaning if your client earns $200,000 per year, they will also spend 65 to 75% of that number. If they make $500,000 a year, they too will spend 65 to 75% of that number. And it doesn't end. If they earn $1 million per year, I guarantee you they are spending 65 to 75% of that number. To put this in context, I want to run you through a quick example. Now take a moment, just sitting where you are, and imagine the house that the $100,000 income earner lives. Just imagine the shape, the size, what the front yard might look like. Now, next to it, or around it, picture the house the $1 million income earner lives in. Do you think that's the same size house? Do you think the lawn's the same size? Do you think the cars parked out front are of the same quality and same cost? Most likely not. In fact, I'm going to guess your first house might have looked something like this, a very traditional home. And when you imagine that second house, it might have looked something more like this. A little bit more exquisite, definitely some more things going on. But what we fail to acknowledge is that these high income earners have the quality of life that follows that income. Therefore, these millionaires are spending 65 to 75% of that large income. Now, to talk to you a little bit about how this is affected in disability planning, I'm going to bring up a real-life case that we've worked on rather recently. Dr. Ladwig was an orthopedic surgeon based out of Wisconsin. Now, he earned $1.3 million per year. Dr. L's disability plan consisted of a $15,000 group LTD plan, topped up by a $6,400 a month IDI plan. Now, $21,400 a month in force. That seems pretty sufficient, right? Most people think, you know what, he earns 1.3, but how is he realistically spending more than $20,000 a month? Well, that picture is absolutely wrong. And luckily, Dr. Ladwig's agent identified this and saw it as an opportunity to get him to the full 65% necessary. So he did this using the Lloyd's market. And frankly, a good way to put this, the Elite Income Protector created $588,000 of annual income for Dr. Ladwig. You know, unfortunately, Dr. L, in the third year of this policy, suffered a laceration to his forearm. This caused severe nerve damage in his hand, therefore unable to complete surgery as he did prior. So now instead of $20,000 a month, that agent gets to deliver $70,000 a month of disability benefits. You don't think Dr. Ladwig and his family are appreciative of having that additional policy? I would certainly expect so. I'm just going to take a guess. I'm going to say that the average agent on today's call will most likely be in the ballpark of about 3 to 12 disability policies a year. I know that's a great variance, but it may vary year to year for yourself. I'm going to guess that that average client earns probably $100,000 a year. Thereby, again, to go off a ballpark number, you're probably looking at about a $3,000 annual premium for those clients. This would result in anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 in premium sales per year, and then to you about $5,000 to $20,000 in first-year commission. Now, maybe you have greater placement than this. Maybe you're more involved in DI, or maybe you're an agent on the call who's never sold DI and just wants to learn more. Regardless, today's concepts, I guarantee you, will create millions in commissions for you if you're willing to make the commitment. One thing I want to make very clear. It's very difficult to become a millionaire selling disability insurance on a $3,000 average premium. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. It would take over 500 policies to create $1 million in revenue. Now, if you're wanting to get to that $1 million level and don't necessarily want to find 500 clients or write 500 policies, you're on the right webinar. Step one. This may seem rather obvious, but for some reason is so overlooked in our industry. Reach up for new clients, okay? In order to become a millionaire selling disability insurance, we have to find the right clientele. Many think the clients in the $1 million earnings category are just so far out of reach, so far-fetched. And this is what I'd like to open your eyes up to in our industry. In the US, there's 3.5 million people who earn more than $500,000 per year. Of those 3.5 million, 1.2 million are attorneys, 1 million are physicians. But this kind of creates a sweet spot because only 145,000 US households are worth more than 25 million, meaning there's about 3.35 million people in the US earning a very nice income compared to the status quo, however, are not the mega millionaires, meaning over 25 million total net worth, that we think they are. This creates the need for proper disability planning at extreme levels. And so how exactly do you get to this client? First off, I want to ask you, or answer for yourself, what's the difference between selling a disability policy worth $100,000 a year or selling a disability policy worth $1 million a year? It's the same need, it's the same statistics, and most likely it's the same number of emails, calls, visits, lunch dates. The only difference is the number of zeros. So when are you going to take the time to focus on this marketplace? I want to talk about prospecting because this is normally where an agent gets hung up on this idea, right? How do I go out and find that person earning $1 million a year or more? Well, first off, it's key. The needs are going to be different than the client you're used to working with, right? The person earning $100,000 a year is probably a little bit more worried about money. The person earning $1 million a year is a lot more worried about time. Time is their greatest virtue. Now, in order to get in front of these people, it's obvious you need to be the expert. You need to be a leader in your area, whether that's a geographical area or a specialized industry, but be where they are when they're there. So is there a place in your town or your major city where you think, man, whenever I go to dinner there or whenever I golf there or have an outing there, there's always the coolest cars parked out front? You know, and maybe that's just somewhere you go once a year on a major occasion or whatever the case might be. Guess what? That place that you just identified, that's somewhere you should be more often than once a year. That's where your key clientele sits as it relates to our topic here today. Another thing I want to just kind of throw out there and for you to hold on to as a general prospecting rule, I don't see this done enough in our industry, but I do believe you can benefit greatly by taking a client out to lunch every single day, right? Many people are worried about, you know, well, gosh, if I take someone out 5 days a week, you know, every week of the year, my bill when I get home is just going to be insane on a monthly or annual basis, whatever the case is. You're thinking too small. We're thinking big in today's lesson. So what we need to do is exercise our power base. Find the clients that have already trusted you, that you've already been the expert for. Take them out to lunch. Go to that same spot every day, just with a new client, right? You become known in that spot. And not only that, but hey, that client's referral network is probably one of your most fruitful networks that you could prospect in. Maximize those results in that effort, and I guarantee you it will reward you greatly. Now, once we reach up to this next level of client, these are just 3 of the many questions that you could be asking them. But what we always like to lead in with is, how much of your income is protected? Now, Mr. Client, if you had to live off that income, how would that change your life? Great question for a millionaire. You earn $80,000 a month, you have $10,000 a month of DI in force. Mr. Client, if you had to live off $10,000 a month, how would that change your life? Now, how concerned are you about fixing that? And that's where you can generate your interest and see if you're working with someone who's going to be willing to give you the time to look at options, to look at solutions to this great problem. What we normally see in our industry, and this is again just a generic client demographic, but to give you an idea, we will see an executive or a high income earner, approximately age 50, maybe earning, $1.25 million per year. This is outstanding. They've done phenomenal for themselves. The only problem is they only have $10,000 a month in group LTD in force, right? That's an extremely large problem. Now, step 1 is the insurance agent usually writes an individual DI policy. Again, on an average, I'm going to say they got them $15,000 a month of additional coverage. The only problem is, at this point, the insurance agent's wiping their hands and they're saying, great, I'm so glad I got to solve this problem for my client. We've facilitated this policy. I got them additional coverage. I'm very happy that I've completed this level. Well, that's 24% of their monthly income. That is nowhere near where this executive needs to be. And I'm troubled to identify this, but a lot of times the hang up of what we get of why wouldn't you offer that next layer of coverage is, I don't want to screw up the IDI sale, or I just, it was hard enough to get that IDI in there. I don't think he's going to buy more. And a question you'll actually see later in the presentation, but I'll go ahead and ask it now, is do you want to say to your client when they're disabled, well, and he calls you and asks you, hey, did I have more disability insurance in force? Do you want to be the one to say, hey, sorry, I didn't think you would actually be willing to buy more, or I didn't think you wanted more? Or would you rather be the agent that delivers $70,000 a month in disability benefits? I know which one I'd rather be, and that's why I at least challenge you to have the conversation with this particular client. Now, to get back to our storyline here, okay, IDI, $15,000 a month. Let's say you did to age 70, right? Cost wasn't an issue, and you had to fully underwrite for this plan. Now, instead of being done here, we need to go to step 2. Step 2 is you get them a Lloyd's of London policy. Now, in this particular case, the client's eligible for $42,000 a month. We're able to do the exact same to age 70 benefit period. And I'll tell you what, once you've gotten that IDI in place, this is an automatic issue policy. There's no medical underwriting. There's no financial underwriting. You send us a copy of this case, and we send you a full furnished, ready to sign offer for $42,000 a month, or $500,000 a year, or a total $10 million disability policy. That's a $10 million disability benefit, completely automatic issue. No underwriting, no financials. Was that hard to do, to at least put in front of your client to be taken up on this? I think the IDI would have been much harder to process. Now, I aggregate this benefit because normally this is what this particular client likes to hear, right? They want to see the big benefit. Not just, oh, you got me $42,000 a month and it's going to cost me $23,000 a year. That is a much harder pitch. But if we say, we got you a $10 million benefit for just $23,000 a year, that has a much nicer ring to it. If you need to take it to the next level, you break down the premium. Well, I got you a $10 million benefit or $500,000 per year disability policy for just $1,900 a month. If that doesn't do it, keep going. How about $63 a day? If he has 2 kids and a spouse, how about $15 per person per day to ensure $500,000 of your income and make you eligible for $10 million of benefit until your retirement age? This is a much greater sale. And here's why it's one of the most rewarding sales that you can provide to your client. So let's just say on average that IDI policy costs them about $9,000 in premium. You're going to benefit $4,500 first year, $900 for the next 9 years, 10 years. Now the Lloyd's premium, that was a $23,000 case. First year you'll be at $3,500, second year $2,300 and beyond. So for as long as that policy is in force. That leads to a total of $8,000 first year commission and $3,200 every year after that. Now that sounds a lot better than just the IDI premium at $4,500 and $900. You've almost doubled the total revenue that you'll receive out of this particular client. Here's the question again. Do you want to be the agent who says, sorry, I didn't think you'd want to buy more coverage? Or be the agent that delivers $70,000 a month of disability benefits to a family when they need it most? I'd rather be the latter. Now, I've just showed you a key to a simplified issue, $10 million disability policy. You saw the premiums, you saw the commissions. Is that going to get you to be a millionaire in disability insurance? Eventually, but not soon enough. I'm guessing you'd like to have less than a 10-year plan. Here's what I'm going to open your eyes to. How to become a millionaire in DI. It's a rather easy equation. Have you ever heard the idea of 10x? 10x your effort, 10x your output, and 10x your commissions. But I'm not here to just tell you that it's going to take 10 times the effort. Here's a key way that you can 10 times your production in this marketplace. If you remember a couple slides back, 3.5 million people earn more than $500,000 a year. And 2 million people work in just 2 different occupations that are known for having that income range. So I'm going to probe the thought. If you've got one client, if you were able to get one client in that $1 million income earning range, guess who's probably in a similar situation? I'm going to say it's the person, a colleague, maybe a person above him, or again, people working beside him. So, and guess what? He all knows these people. He's connected to these people every day. So how you have this conversation, it's not just a referral conversation. Look, let's use a guaranteed issue program. IDI markets have it. Lloyd's market has it. This is going to remove any individual underwriting you'll ever have to do. You're going to be able to get the policies quicker. This business stays on the books much longer than an individual plan, and you're going to reap greater commissions out of this. Now, these are all your benefits. When you're talking to your client, let's say you're talking to the single $1 million income earner, hey, would it be worth getting me to talk to a couple of your colleagues if I told you I can save you time in getting this coverage? I can definitely save you money, And not only that, it's actually going to be a little bit better policy than what you're used to seeing. I'm almost certain, 90% certain, you will get a referral out of those 3 questions. Here's a case study just to give you an example. Now again, this is thinking big. When I think 10 times, I think, okay, you've gotten maybe 10 or 20 eligible physicians or executives in that particular group. That's a great way to 10x your commissions. If you want to blow your commissions out of the water, we're going whale hunting. This law firm case that I'm showing you here, 2,000 attorneys. Now, that's not your eligible group. Don't worry, you don't have to be a whole administration team to do this. But what I'm talking about is the high income earners in this group. So the law firm already has $50,000 a month in force. Initially, you're going to look at this case and say, oh my goodness, $50,000 a month in force. I don't know how anyone, could really need more. That's what I thought too when I first laid eyes on this case. But believe it or not, we propose a $60,000 employer paid Lloyd's plan. So absolutely mandatory. There were 355 partners eligible for more coverage. That means 350 people earning more than $1 million per year. Even once that benefit was exhausted, still another 250 partners were eligible for more. So we made a voluntary option eligible to them, and we saw a 38% participation. If you're familiar at all with group benefits, 38% is on the upper echelon. So that shows that these people earn great incomes and they are very apt to buy this coverage. Okay, a total case design like this is a $3 million opportunity. That's a $3 million premium being paid every year, to which you will receive never-ending commissions. And this one was actually done a few years back. This particular case has now grown to over $4.8 million in premium. Okay, so forget $500, $3,000 policies. It would take you just 2 years to become a millionaire selling this policy. This could be the only policy you sell, and in 2 years, you're dancing. Now you may think, gosh, this is a very hard level to achieve, right? How am I ever going to get in front of a client like this? Folks, there's an AmLaw 200 list. That means 200 top law firms here in the U.S., right? You could average at least 4 in each state, but we all know the more populated states. Just littered with opportunities, people who need this excess layer of disability coverage. I would estimate this is a $500 million market. And the amount of potential left in this market is at least 90%. We've only scratched the surface. This is law firms. How about orthopedic surgeons and physicians? If we look at those accounts, it's all the same size. And guess what? Here in our office, we have a list of the top 200 health and orthopedic centers in the U.S. And this is something that we go after. How about investment firms? Okay, publicly traded companies are one thing. They certainly have high-paying execs. But investment firms, wealth management firms, private equity, we have seen outrageous incomes in this space. And when I say outrageous, I mean, earning more than $8 million a year and still buying disability benefits to get to 65% coverage. I want to open your eyes to the world out there and the opportunity out there within disability financial planning. The product that you're going to be talking about and utilizing is a guaranteed issue product. That means no exams, no underwriting, discounted premium, some cases up to 50% from what they'd pay individually. Okay, it's a completely portable policy. Same with the IDI that you'd sell them. And they can buy up benefits at any time. This is a growing business. They're going to bring new hires onto this plan. They're going to constantly buy more benefits. This is your key to becoming a millionaire selling disability insurance. Now, a lot of you might still not believe me. So I pulled up 3 recent cases. By recent, in the last week. These are cases that have been brought to us that I could not believe my eyes. We saw a private surgeon earning $3 million a year with a $10,000 a month IDI policy. That was written back in 1997 for him, and his agent has not talked to him since about applying for more coverage. Wow, what an opportunity there. How about a CFO of a top 10 American lawyer law firm? $2.3 million worth of income with $20,000 a month between Group LTD and an IDI plan. He's going to an agent saying, hey, you know, I think I should insure up. I think it's about time. These are the people sitting in these organizations that need your help. These are the people you can reach up to, okay? It's disability insurance. There's not enough agents talking about this, but that's why I congratulate you for being on today's call, because you're in the inside loop. You know that you can have a discussion with any of these top high income earning executives, and I can almost guarantee you that they don't have the proper disability income planning that they should. My last example, how about a VP of a public company earning $4 million of income per year with just $15,000 a month in force? Okay, how about the stock options that VP probably earns that aren't insurable at all in the traditional market? Okay, Lloyd has specific plans to cater to each of these high income and high net worth individuals. Now, here's my challenge to you, because this webinar ends and you go back on with your day. You continue to follow up with the leads and the prospects that you've done for the last month, year, 10 years, whatever the case might be. So here's my challenge to you. Right now, write down 5 people in your area that would change your life if you were able to meet them. If you don't know their names, know where they work. I'd like to meet a surgeon at so-and-so. You know, I'd like to meet an executive at whatever company is in your backyard, right? I think, you know, out here we have a couple, Southern California Orthopedics Institute. I would love to meet a physician that works there. Not just to sell them something, but to help them, right? To find out what their ideas and how they think and how their life's different from mine. Write down the names of 5 people that could change your life. And then my challenge to you is do whatever it absolutely takes to get in front of those people. Be the common person at that favorite lunch spot that they go to. You know, invite a few of these executives or a few clientele out on a golf match. Invest in yourself, invest in them with the idea of helping more people. And by helping more people, we will create a structure that rewards you to become a millionaire selling disability insurance. Folks, that's all I have for you today in 30 quick minutes. But I appreciated the time being here and certainly entertain any questions you might have. Tracy?
Yeah, again, if you have any questions, please go to your question pane on your control panel and type them in, and we can address them. Well, Robert, I think it was a great webinar, and you did a great job, and I think you covered a lot of area. So we'll see. Again, if there's any questions, you can type them in. If you think of a question and oh, here comes well, someone just said it was well done. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. If you have any questions or you think of any questions later today, please feel free to reach the local Plus Group office. Oh, here's a question. What about small, intimate workshops or seminar type events?
As far as a prospecting or?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what Mark means. Why don't you cover both? Yeah, is that maybe something you guys do, or maybe he's talking about, you know, people going to like for lead generation? He said for prospects.
For lead generation,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I think Connecting with as many people as you possibly can is one of the best things you can do. You know, so many people are stuck in their comfort zone and you know, don't want to leave the office or kind of hesitant to pick up the phone. I think you branch out. I think you shake as many hands as you possibly can. So yes, you go to those seminars. You make yourself known, okay? So maybe they're not the right prospect, but if you can make the right impact on them, they might have the right introduction for you. So I say absolutely yes. Go do industry events, go to seminars, trade shows, and make yourself known, make yourself out there. I absolutely think that's a great prospecting tool.
Okay, some questions are coming in now, Robert. What is the definition of disability for the elite income?
It is a true ONOC definition of disability. So the claim story that I brought up with Dr. Ladwig, he's actually currently a consultant, teaches trainees on how he would facilitate that surgery. And so he earns an income doing that, as well as his monthly disability payments from his ONOC policy.
Okay, what makes a group eligible for GSI?
They have to have underlying coverage in force, some type, so group LTD or IDI or both, and then we need at least 3 people. If we have those 2 factors and they're eligible for more earnings, we can take them up to 75%.
Okay, someone asked about getting a copy of these slides, and as I said at the beginning, you'll be sent a link tomorrow within 24 hours that will have the slides as well as the audio. And then is there more info we can get on these products that you covered here? I would say to reach out to your local Plus Group office, and they should be able to provide you with any additional information you'll need. Can you talk more about the plan offering that covers the stock option portion of the client's compensation?
Absolutely. So it's a disability policy specifically structured for a stock option of a publicly traded company. Essentially, it's going to take an average, so a 3-year average of that stock option amount. You know, let's say that's $1 million a year the executive's been earning. So that person would be eligible for up to a $5 million lump sum payable to them should they become disabled. It's a permanent disability product, meaning they would not be able to return to that occupation. And in essence, it protects those future earnings, right? So if they're not at work next year, they're not going to receive that $1 million stock option, at which point they become eligible for that 5 times lump sum payable after a 1-year waiting period and would be a permanent disability.
Okay, next, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, just that plan can be financially or individually provided, so that would be a fully underwritten product, or we can also utilize the group guaranteed issue chassis with 3 or more executives.
Okay, and someone want to know if it can be paid by an employer as a benefit.
Absolutely. If it's paid by the employer and the premiums are deducted, it is going to be a taxable benefit, so that hinders some of the income planning aspect. What we normally see in that space is the executives are bonused with the premium payment, you know, bonus the premium amount. That way they're paying the premium and they still receive the tax-free benefit. So it is used as an executive bonus tool in that kind of scenario.
Okay, and next is what documentation is required to place a Lloyd's DI plan over an existing individual DI plan or group DI plan?
For individual underwriting, so if we just get one Lloyd's policy out to one person, it's going to be your standard paramed, blood, and urine for medical underwriting, as well as tax returns depending on the benefit amount we're looking at. That's absolutely the beauty of this guaranteed issue program. So for guaranteed issue, it is one single form for the entire group. So not individual forms, but if it's an employer-paid group Lloyd's plan, then they sign a single page, the employer does. If we do a voluntary offering, usually that's just one page. It's check the box and sign your name, and we get that out to each eligible employee. These are all great questions too. Keep them coming.
Another great one. How do you overcome the objection that their net worth will cover any disability event?
Yeah, usually we see that, you know, as from an underwriting perspective, usually we see that in the traditional space. Again, with Lloyd's, we understand that the high income individual is spending a majority of that money. So the idea that someone might have, you know, let's say a $20 million net worth, and that's because they have, you know, a main house, a couple vacation homes, you know, maybe a boat, whatever the case might be. The idea of disability financial planning is that we're trying to help the client sustain their current life. So we don't want to say, because you can liquidate, you know, X, Y, Z and create $10 million right there. That's not the point. You know, a disability income plan is so they can sustain their quality of life. So that's where the Lloyd's mindset comes from. Again, we deal in these large benefit amounts daily, and all our central funds and even the U.S. held assets are proportionate to those benefits we offer. So as from an underwriting perspective, Lloyd's is not concerned with net worth.
Okay, next, how long after the first IDI policy issued that allows guaranteed issue with Lloyd's?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one?
Yeah, how long after the first IDI policy issued that allows guaranteed issue with Lloyd's will a medical not be required even after a year after issuing the IDI policy?
Got it. So if you write IDI on a single client, you can automatically issue a Lloyd's policy within 90 days. So any client you've provided IDI for in the last 90 days would still be eligible for that program. If let's say you obtained IDI a year ago, now we can still go off those medical exams, but it's going to be underwritten based off those exams. In the automatic issue case, you know, within 90 days, we don't even request exams. We just go off the IDI underwriting. So we look at their declaration page for the IDI and basically offer an identical policy just with a greater benefit amount.
Great. Are there any other questions? Yeah, we had some great questions. If there's any more, please type them in. If not, and you think of something afterwards, like I said, just reach out to your local Plus Group office, or feel free to contact me, Tracy at plusgroupus.com, and we'll make sure you get an answer. Oh, I see another one. If IDI was issued with GSI, will that still show GSI with Lloyd's?
Yeah, that's a great opportunity just to utilize that same group. So if that's IDI that the particular agent was able to implement, we can work off that same census. So yes, perfect opportunity there as well.
Great. Anything else? Well, Robert, I think it was a great presentation. Thank you so much to you and Peterson International for your help today, and thank you all for attending. And again, feel free to get back with us with any questions, and you will get a copy with a link that will have both the audio and the actual presentation. You'll have that within 24 hours. But again, any other questions, feel free to reach out to Robert. You can see his email address there, or me, Tracy, T-R-A-C-E-Y, at plusgroupus.com. Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Robert, and have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.